You think being competent is enough to get noticed. But the truth is, the better you are, the more invisible you become. You fix problems before they explode. You see patterns before others even realize something is wrong. You step in quietly, solve it, and move on. And then, nothing happens. No recognition, no acknowledgement, no shift in how people see you. Just silence. You sit there for a moment staring at your screen, knowing something important just happened, but also knowing no one else felt it, because from their perspective, nothing changed. The system works. The issue is gone. Everything is fine. And somehow that erases you. This is the quiet frustration that most competent people carry, but rarely talk about. You assume your work speaks for itself, but your work doesn't speak. It removes the need for anyone to ask questions. That's the trap. The more effective you are, the less disruption exists. The less disruption exists, the less attention flows toward you. And attention, not effort, is what people remember. Think about the last time you solved something critical. No one saw the tension before. No one understood the risk. No one experienced the complexity. They only experienced the outcome. It works. And when something simply works, there's no story, no friction, no struggle, no visible journey. So your contribution disappears into the background. Now compare that to someone else in the same environment. They don't necessarily solve faster. They don't necessarily think deeper, but they talk through their process. They explain. They walk people step by step. They make their thinking visible, and suddenly people understand them, not because they're better, but because they're seen. Here's where most people misunderstand what's happening. You think you're being ignored. You're not. You're being unregistered, and that's far more dangerous. Being ignored means people saw you and dismissed you. Being unregistered means they never fully saw you at all. There was nothing to react to, nothing to remember, nothing to attach meaning to, so you don't exist in their mental map. And in any system, workplace, business, society, if you don't exist in the map, you don't move forward. There are 3 layers that control everything here: competence, visibility, recognition. Most people believe these 3 move together. They don't. Competence is internal. It's what you know, what you can do, how well you solve problems. Visibility is external. It's what others can observe about that competence. Recognition is the result. It attaches only to what is visible, not what is true. That's the part that feels unfair, but it's not personal. It's structural. People cannot value what they cannot see. And most of your best work happens where no one is looking. You move fast. You skip unnecessary steps. You cut through noise. From your perspective, that's efficiency. From their perspective, something is missing. They didn't see how you got there, so they can't evaluate it. And when people can't evaluate something, they don't fully trust it. Not because they doubt you, but because they lack context. This creates a gap, not between you and your ability, but between your ability and how it is perceived. You know the depth of what you did. They only see the surface, and outcomes without visible processes don't carry identity. They don't attach to a person. They just exist, which means your role becomes replaceable, even when it isn't. Over time, this shapes how people label you. You're reliable. You just get things done. You're solid. It sounds like a compliment, but it's a cage, because those labels don't create movement. They don't position you as a thinker, a leader, a decision maker. They position you as someone who handles things quietly. And quiet people don't get promoted, not because they're not capable, but because they're not associated with impact. If this hits, comment 1 below. Here's the deeper truth most people never confront. The workplace is not a meritocracy. It's a perception system. Decisions are not made based on pure value. They are made based on perceived value. And perception is built through signals, not effort, not intention. Signals. Every time you speak, explain, document, or connect your action to an outcome, you create a signal. Every time you solve something silently and move on, you erase a signal. And if you erase enough signals, you erase yourself. That's why some people move up faster than you, even when you know you're more capable. They are not necessarily better. They are more visible. They leave traces. They give people something to remember, something to repeat, something to attach to their name. You, on the other hand, remove the problem, and with it, the evidence of your value. This is where the reality shifts. You think if I do great work, people will notice. Reality, people notice what they can understand, not what is hidden. You think I shouldn't need to explain everything. Reality, if it's not visible, it doesn't exist in their mind. You think results speak for themselves. Reality results without context speak for no one. That's the shift. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because now you realize something uncomfortable. You've been playing the game on the wrong layer. You focused entirely on competence. But the system rewards visibility, and those are not the same skill. This is where most people resist. They think visibility means arrogance, or showing off, or talking too much. But real visibility is not noise. It's clarity. It's the ability to make your thinking traceable, to create a bridge between what you did and what others understand. That's it. Not performance, not ego, just traceability. Because without traceability, there is no memory. Without memory, there is no recognition. And without recognition, there is no progression. Now here's the brutal truth about how systems actually work. Organizations don't promote the most competent person. They promote the most understandable one, the one they can explain to others, the one they can justify, the one whose value is easy to point to. Because every decision carries risk, and people reduce risk by choosing what feels clear, not what is actually best. So if your work is invisible, you are a risk, even if you're the most capable person in the room. And this is where the pain deepens. Because you start working harder, you take on more responsibility, you fix more problems, you become even more essential. But nothing changes. Your role stays the same. Your position stays the same. Your recognition stays the same. And slowly you start to believe something dangerous. That's just how it is. That belief locks you in place. Years pass. You become the backbone of the system, the one who keeps everything running, but never the one who moves forward. Not because you lack ability, but because you never learn to translate it into signals. And without signals, the system cannot respond to you. So here's the shift you actually need. Not a big one, not a dramatic one, a small deliberate change. The next time you solve something, pause. Before you move on, before it disappears, take 30 seconds and create a visible link. One sentence. That issue earlier was caused by X. I adjusted Y and now it's stable. That's it. No over-explaining, no performance, just clarity. You're not trying to impress. You're creating a trace, a marker that says this happened and this is how it was solved. Now your work has a story. Now your work has context. Now your work has a connection to you. Do this consistently and something shifts. People begin to associate outcomes with your thinking. They begin to understand how you operate. They begin to trust not just the result, but the process behind it. And that changes everything. Because once people understand your process, they can rely on you at a higher level. They stop seeing you as someone who fixes things. They start seeing you as someone who understands things. And that's the difference between being useful and being valuable. Useful people stay where they are. Valuable people move. You already have the hardest part. You stay with problems. You don't panic. You don't avoid. You don't quit when things get complex. Most people never develop that. But here's the truth no one tells you. That alone is not enough. Because the world doesn't run on hidden competence. It runs on visible signals. And if your signals are invisible, your impact becomes invisible too. So the next time something works, don't rush past it. Don't let it vanish. Pause. Make it visible. Just enough so it can be seen. Just enough so it can be remembered. Just enough so it can be attributed to you. Because in the end, it's not about doing more. It's about making what you already do to count. If this changed how you think, consider subscribing.